Good morning, everybody. Happy episode 100. Woo! Welcome to the 100th episode of the School of Shred. That is a long time. That's a lot of talking over the last 100 episodes. Welcome, everybody. This is episode 100. Today, we're going to talk all things training. We're going to talk about how to get better training, better resistance training, better exercises, better exercise programming, and all that good stuff. But before we do, as everybody jumps on here, the live audience, go ahead and throw a flex emoji with some fire in the comments. Please throw me a flex emoji with some fire because, number one, it's Monday, right? And we got to attack the week, right? Number two, it's the 100th episode, all right? Today, we're going to be talking about today's workout. Today, what you can do in today's workout to have the best workout possible so you can create the body you want, which then creates the life that you want, because we're all here for self-improvement, right? So today's episode, we might go a little bit longer because we're going to address a couple things. Number one, we're going to revisit what is this show all about? This is 100 episodes in. I do not take this lightly. We are here for a reason. We're here for a purpose. You're listening to this for a reason. And that reason is going to be talked about here in the beginning. And then we're going to get into tips for getting the best workout today that you possibly can get. So this is going to be a great episode. This is episode 100. Let's get into it. The show is here Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we do a Q&A every Friday. Ask your questions in the comments. I will store them. I will save them. I will put them in my piggy bank, and on Friday, I will answer them. Okay? So for those of you who have tuned in along the way of the first 100 reps, who am I? Who am I, the guy talking? I am John Reed. I am a fitness trainer of nearly 10 years. I run my own business. I've been on my own for over 5 years. I spent 3.5 years in the corporate gym setting. And that's a little bit about me. I am from a small town from Ellensburg, Washington. I live in Seattle, Washington. That's where I operate out of. I grew up broke in spirit, didn't really know how to use my mind, how to dream, how to create what I wanted to create. And it was the gym that allowed me to do that. So fitness literally saved my life. So in the first episode of this show, I talked about how fitness is a vehicle for personal improvement and change. And that's truly what it is. And that's what it's been for me. And I can only speak on what it is for me and what it is for the clients that I've helped. But you tend to attract into life what's most prevalent to you, and you tend to attract what you put out there. And I truly believe that health is the gateway to a better life. It's the gateway. So through down payments of discipline and doing the hard things and developing an imagination to figure out where you want to go to, because in order to get to our goals, or in order to create good goals, we have to have a good imagination. All of these things that you do with fitness can then be cascaded out into your life, into your career, your profession, your finances, your family life, your friends. When you create the body that you desire, that right there is proof to you that you can create anything you desire in this life. And I want you to start thinking about this in a little bigger picture here, because that's what this show is about. It's about connecting some dots for you. It's about giving you the tools, the scientific tools from a trainer on how to get in shape and get healthy, but also be a dreamer again, because this is about self-development. This is not just about health and fitness. This is about holistic health. And remember, what holistic health is mental. There's a mental component, there's a spiritual component, and there's a lot of physical components to it. But through reaching your goals in fitness, you are able to prove to yourself that you could reach any goal that you can come up with in imagination. I have a tattoo on my hand right here. It's from my favorite author. If you've been listening to this show for a long time, you know who that is. You can probably recite it for me. It's Napoleon Hill. He's my favorite author. And I have a quote that's tattooed on my wrist. And it is, what mind of man can conceive and believe he can achieve through positive mental attitude. Okay. What mind of man can conceive and believe he can achieve. And so if you can think it, you can bring it into the existence and into the reality. And you can do that with your body. So there's certainly no reason you couldn't do that with anything else that you want to. So fitness and getting in shape can be a kickstarter and a catalyst to a better life. That's how powerful this stuff is. That's why I'm here speaking about this. This is why this is on my heart, is because fitness changed my life and it can change your life. And you're on the path right now. If you're listening to this, if you hear my words right now, you are on the path. unless you're just listening for entertainment, but usually you wouldn't listen to a fitness show for that. I'm not that entertaining. So with that said, let's go to the notes here. Let's go to my phone a friend, because this show is done alone. There's nobody else in studio in here in my beautiful office. So what is this show about? This show is about self-development. Like I said, it's about giving you some mindset tools, okay? Giving you some dietary tools, giving you some fitness, some exercise tools, some recovery tools. I run this thing called the School of Shred Online Health Academy. And what the School of Shred Online Health Academy is a 5-part personal training educational system. So it's a personal training system, but what it really is I've created more of an educational system where I give you assignments every week. And there's 5 modules to it. There's the spirit module, that's the S in shred. The spirit module, which is about mindset, visual and auditory nutrition. Okay, that's the mental component. It's also the spiritual component. So there's different tasks on that. And there's the habitat component, which is in your environment. Your environment shapes your behavior. Your environment shapes your habits. Your environment also will provide a lot of toxins or lack thereof, depending on how aware you are of it. Then you have your recovery, balancing your nervous system, your sleep, all that good stuff. And you have exercise and you have diet. That's spelled shred. So all of those things are covered on this show, and I promote all of those. Okay, and that creates self-development and in a way that resonates with me. And if it resonates with me, I know there's people out there that it resonates with as well. So if you listen to this for any given amount of time, the reason that you're continuing to listen to this is because we're not just talking about the exercise and the diet, although we do get into that because that's pretty much what I've been, my profession has been for the last 10 years. So it's not all just waxing poetically about, weird theories that worked for me. I have worked with hundreds of people in person, but I believe the mental component is a huge part of it. So that's why we talk about that. But this show is about self-development. It's about seeing the bigger picture in fitness and cascading it out. It's about glorifying daily fitness practices. Because when we glorify daily fitness practices, when we glorify them and we focus on them, they create habits. Those are those small tokens, those down payments of self-development. And then lastly, you're getting information from somebody who really is a trainer, not just saying it. I've actually worked with people. So just trying to share a little bit. And then who is this show for? So I've designed a lot of this stuff for the busy business professionals out there. I think of my clients. I think of particular clients that I'm talking to when I'm doing this thing. The type of clients that I train are in the tech industry, most of them, or they're busy business professionals, and they need balance in their life. I'm looking for anybody who wants balance in their life, the things I just talked about. Parents and people who are family oriented, this is for you. This show is for you. And anyone that wants to connect the dots to a bigger picture. So with that said, that's what this show is about. We're 100 episodes in. Let's go for 100 more. And today, let's talk about tips for getting the best workout today in today's workout. So the topic today is today's workout, how to make the best out of it, how to make the most out of today's workout. So I want to give you some things. We're going to talk about resistance training. I want to give you some things today that you can focus on in your resistance training session that you do to have the best workout possible. So a lot of times I don't talk a ton about weightlifting on this show, and I've decided to not talk a ton about it because I've had mentors that really have humbled me and made me not really want to speak to a large audience in generalities and be very general, because what I do with my in-person practice is very customized, and I do a lot of mechanics-based stuff. And that takes a being humble and a thought process and understanding mechanics and resistance profiles and strength profiles and like length tension relationships and a lot of this tricky stuff that I don't know really applies to some of this stuff. So I try to pick my spots wisely when I talk about resistance training. because that's what I do in person, and it varies a great degree. So the one thing I can say is I encourage everybody to resistance train, but where you should resistance train, I have no idea who's listening to this. So when I do talk about resistance training, I try to qualify and quantify what I'm saying by first stating what the hypothetical goal might be as we get into it. So if your goal is accumulation of muscle tissue and to burn body fat and reveal a nice lean physique, that's what we're going to talk about here today. The fact is the longer that I've trained and the more that I've learned, the more injured clientele I take, or compromised clientele, or people on the ends of the bell curve. I don't train a whole lot of people who just want to get in shape anymore. I have some people who are younger, but typically I train people who are over 50 and they have a lot of orthopedic issues that I have to work around, and that takes a thought process and going back to the drawing board a lot, which is a lot of fun the deeper you get into understanding lifting. And those people appreciate when they get results. But I spent a long time with physique enhancement and stuff like that. But for today's workout, some tips that can make it the best workout. Number one would be to create muscular tension throughout the entire range of motion. Okay. If you want to gain muscle and you want to lose body fat, if you're trying to lose body fat, usually you're trying to train your muscles so you have nice muscles for when you lose the body fat, you have that nice lean ripped physique, right? The shredded physique, dare we say. Okay. So the first thing that we want to do is create muscular tension. So what that means is having ownership through the entire range of motion. Okay. So nice, slow, controlled stops and starts. When you get to the end of the range, you pull into it, you show up to it. You don't just touch and go. And then you come down to the bottom of that range and you glide into it. You have ownership over that. You're responsible for that entire repetition. Okay. You're keeping the maximum amount of tension on the muscle, because remember, we're there to challenge muscles through the stretch and the shortened cycles that they go through. Okay. When you're resting and when you're at the top of a rep or you're jamming into it, you're not actually creating tension. So creating tension is what will exhaust muscles. The second thing you can do today to make today's workout the best possible workout is to control inertial effects. And I've talked about this before. I talk about this quite a bit. Control inertia. Unless you have another reason that you should be utilizing inertial forces, like you're doing some type of athletic program, which would be a customized thing. If your goal is to build muscle, you want to control inertia, because by controlling inertia, you're controlling additional jamming effects that happen in orthopedic structures when you get to end ranges. Okay. And so you can create more muscular tension. If you're jamming into ends, you could be doing damage to cartilages. Okay. Because you're lacking ownership when inertia gets going. Inertia is the speed at which you're moving the weights with. Okay. It's the momentum. That's another loose word that is used for inertia. So that comes back to controlling your speed and your tempo when you're doing things, when you're doing your exercises today. So create muscular tension, create the maximum amount of muscular tension throughout the entire range of motion, have complete ownership of that range, control the inertial effects, and then focus on the muscle that you desire to train. Make sure you're focusing on that. You want to have your mind in it. Don't be thinking about the rest of your day when you're working out. Go for a walk or a run or do your cardio if you want to daydream, which there's a time and a place for that, and that can be very important. Very, very important. I think everybody should be doing that. I don't think enough people daydream, but not during your exercise. I have my clients, my in-person clients, they have to sign a piece of paper that says, I will not talk during execution of sets. Okay, this is a big one. Is you don't want to be thinking about your day. You don't want to be getting too into your music unless you want to get on the external side of the house where you're just trying to get the reps done and you think that that's what's important, then by all means, then that's your workout. But if you want it to be the most focused, intentional, hypertrophy-based exercise routine possible, you want to focus. And what I mean by that is focus on the desired muscle. What is the goal of the exercise? Are you doing a chest press to hit your chest, the pec muscles? Then focus on the pec muscles the entire time. Make sure that you're feeling a sensation in those guys. Focus on them. The first thing you want to focus on, if you're new to lifting, is rate and range of control. Where are your ends of the range? Make sure that you have a nice, easy motion. Okay, that you're creating muscular tension, you're stopping inertial effects. Then you start to focus on the muscle. That comes later, but then eventually you want to make sure that you're feeling the desired muscle that you want to train. Okay, your brain and your muscles need to be connecting. And you only do that by thinking. If you right now try to move your big toe and your right foot, try to bring it up off the ground. If you think about doing that, those are your muscles working, right? But the brain sent the signal to it. So you feel that. It's no different with training your muscles. You want to be focusing on that area. And when you focus on that area, then you'll become more in tune with the first 2 points that I made, which is maintaining muscular tension throughout the entire range and then controlling inertia. Because if you have too much inertia present, you can't focus. You can't focus on the muscle. You're going to notice if you're going too fast that you're not creating enough muscular tension and you're not able to focus. So these things are all, it's like a house of cards. They're all stacked on top of each other. Okay. And then the next one is execute over external loads. So focus on execution and doing the exercise correctly, like I said, rate and range of control, over the external load when the goal is for muscle growth. All right, so execute. So what are your points you're thinking about? What is the intention that you have when you're doing this thing? How are you trying to execute the exercise that you're doing? What are you thinking about? Are you just going through the range? Are you just going through the motions? A lot of us just go through the range and the motions and we try to slap more weight on. That is not something I would ever have a client of mine do, is just go through the motions. Not good enough. You should be focusing. Because when you're putting external forces through your body, they can build you up and make you very healthy and give you energy and abundance in your life and health, or they can break you down long term. They can ruin cartilages. They can ruin your cartilage system. They can cause osteophytes. They can cause, those are called bone spurs. They can cause all sorts of issues. They can cause injuries. And then long term, your health deteriorates. And what do I mean by that? I'm talking in the course of 10 years. You could get in shape and be in shape for 10 years, but the way that you train is not conducive to 20-year, 30-year, 40-year health. You might want to start thinking about that and start listening to some of these tips right here that we're talking about when we talk about trying to not lift in a sloppy way. Just because you can get in shape in a year or 6 months or 3 months does not mean that it won't cause long-term effects. And this stuff should scare you a little bit. That way you focus on being a technician when you're lifting because it's your responsibility. I have clients who come to me later in life that can't lift their arm up in front of their body without pain in their shoulder because they've lost ownership in those muscles. Things have happened in their life that have caused osteophytes and bone spurs and arthritis. It's no joke. And these people wish they could have to go back in time and learn how to put forces through their body in a good way. And a lot of times they have to get replacements, joint replacements, because we can't get new cartilages. So you only have one cartilage system. When it's gone, it's gone. So take care of yourself when you're lifting. And then the last thing that you want to do when you have all this down, when your execution is good, you're creating muscular tension throughout the entire range of motion, you're controlling inertia, you're focusing on the muscle that you want to train, you're executing instead of just worrying about external load. External load is great when you can execute correctly first. Then the last thing you want to do is train outside your current threshold, get uncomfortable, then train like a beast, then train hard. Train smart first, though, people. Train smart first. I just gave you 4 ways to train smart. Now we'll talk about working your ass off. Train hard after you know how to train smart. Because some people say train harder, train harder. Some people say train smarter. Well, what happens when you train smart, then you train harder than anybody else? Then what's going to happen? Now, here's the thing. I'm a natural muscle building guy, so I've had to try and learn how to do this thing and gain as much muscle as possible and optimize hormones and learn about it. That's been my greatest gift because it's challenged me, because it's been a very hard road. And that's why I love helping clients who want to build natural muscle, is because we don't have extra supplements that we can take that help us recover. We have to figure this thing out. We have to learn how to create tension in the muscle. We have to learn how to do and execute exercises to the highest degree and make them hard. We have to find work within the exercise as opposed to get out of work to put more external forces on. So we have to train smart, but then when we train smart, we can train hard. Okay, so those are the tips for today. So in today's workout, to have the best workout today on episode 100, Shred Nation, create maximum muscular tension throughout the entire range of motion. Focus on creating muscular tension today when you're working out. Okay, when you create muscular tension, you control inertial effects. You don't want momentum getting away from you. Control the weight. You're trying to contract your muscles, and the weight is just an addition to what you're already able to do with your brain power to that muscle. Okay, that's the focus. The next thing is focus on execution of the exercise over external load. And then the last thing is after you do that, train just outside your current threshold. Get out of your comfort zone when you have your execution correct. That's episode 100. We'll be back tomorrow with episode 101. We've been here for 100 episodes. Thank you to everybody who's listened to this point. If you've only listened to the last few episodes, that's great. Strap that seatbelt in. We're gonna get after some self-development here. And I appreciate everybody out there. I appreciate you, Shred Nation, whoever you are listening to this. Let's get better day by day in every way. With that, I want you to stay strong and healthy in body, stay relentless and energized in spirit, and stay determined in your pursuits today. That's spell shred. Now go shred the day and get better in every way. Until next time, school, class is dismissed. We'll see you tomorrow.